I was thinking about the concept of the deep state, and I was realizing that Donald Trump has, in a sense, become the deep state that he warned us about to the extent that it ever existed. I want to explain this and kind of get your thoughts about it. For years, Trump had this political identity that was built around the idea that you can't trust the system. You can't trust the FBI. You can't trust the DOJ, the courts. You can't trust them. The media, you can't trust. Everybody's in on it. And that is sort of the catalyst for this concept of the deep state, some shadowy cabal that's really in control, that really holds the power. When I interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy a couple of times back during the 24 election, he would talk about it, and MAGA just ate it up. And if something made Trump look bad, certainly he was getting framed. And if a scandal emerged, it was fake news. If truth didn't fit the narrative, it was a globalist psyop. But the problem with all of this is that Trump now is the system. Over the weekend, I wrote a piece on my Substack called Trump, Epstein, and the Trust Collapse. And in this piece, I talk about some of the aspects of this. Trump is in charge of the very institutions that he and his cohort said, you've got to distrust these institutions. They are doing the same things that Trump once screamed were proof of a cover-up. Look at the Epstein case, which is such a great example. For years, Trump world was screaming, the feds are hiding the truth. The DOJ is corrupt, under Biden, of course. The FBI is blocking the release of the Epstein list. Just you wait, because when Donald Trump goes back in office, the truth is going to come out. We're going to get all of it. And Trump is back. And what we got is Kash Patel as FBI director, Dan Bongino as deputy director, Pam Bondi as Donald Trump's bootlicking attorney general. And what did they say? They said, no, everybody was right. Epstein really did die by suicide. No, there's no secret list of the clients to reveal. No, there's not going to be any more arrests or prosecutions. There's just nothing here. And just like that, MAGA sort of runs into the wall that it built for everybody else to run into. And now they are running into it. And this is the core contradiction that nobody in Donald Trump's orbit now is willing to admit, which is that a movement based on total distrust of institutions can't survive when they succeed because they take control of the institutions and they become what they've been warning people about. And when you come in, you become the institutions you warned people about. You don't clean house. You don't drain the swamp. And you publicly make the exact same statements you used to say. Those aren't possibly true. Your base will start to turn on you. And so Trump certainly didn't destroy the deep state, if it exists. Trump became the deep state. Trump is now the one saying, believe the FBI. I've got Kash and Dan there. Just believe the FBI. Didn't you say we can't believe the FBI? We can't trust No. Now you can. They are the ones saying the DOJ not releasing all the stuff I and they said they are going to release. That's nothing to worry about. The DOJ is functioning perfectly fine. But I thought you said distrust the DOJ when they don't release things. No, now they're not releasing things in a different way. When Trump fires data officials because the jobs numbers didn't flatter him, that's the deep state he claimed was actually in control, but he's controlling it. And then, of course, when you demand loyalty from every single institution that you said was broken, isn't it broken if they are just loyal to you? So Trump maybe promised to dismantle the machinery, but Trump has seized the machinery and he's using it in exactly the ways he warned us about. And now he's saying, every other president did it wrong. I'm doing it all right, except he's stripping the guardrails. He's more paranoid, and he doesn't even have a pretense of shame about what he's doing. So this is really a form of institutional capture, and that's what actual deep state type apparatuses do. And it's a brutal irony if you sit back and think about it. The MAGA faithful now have to choose between saying, you know what, we were wrong, or they have to pretend that this betrayal that Trump is doing is part of the plan. It only seems like he's behaving the way he warned us about, but there's some greater good. He's ultimately going to whatever. Now, we do have this growing civil war within MAGA over this. And so the third option is kind of cannibalizing your own movement. A lot of the influencers who worship Trump are now saying Trump's gone soft. The same channels that used to boost Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are now saying they may be one of them. And the echo chamber is just starting to eat itself. So this is what happens when Trump spends years telling the base that the system can't be trusted. Now he's saying, please, I need you to trust the system. I'm running it now. You can trust it now. Please trust the system. And that's really the trap. You build your movement, you then set it on fire and act surprised when it ends up burning your own house down. So I don't know where ultimately the MAGA base is going to land. They didn't seem to be falling for the Epstein stuff. There's no list, died by suicide. It's all exactly like everybody said. They didn't seem to be falling for that. That's a problem for Trump. With the jobs numbers were so bad and corrupt that I got rid of the person in charge of curating the numbers. Some of them are falling for it, but I don't know that enough will. It remains to be seen. We need to keep pumping the truth out there. The Democratic Party may not yet know how they're going to figure out a plan to win next year. We've got all these other issues, but we need to keep pumping the truth out there. And I think that MAGA knows that to a degree, their ability to convince people about a lot of this stuff is hampered by independent media existing and continuing to tell the truth. So it's extra important that we support independent media at this time. Doesn't have to be this show. Sounds self-serving. Don't support this show. Fine. People email me, they go, David, why can't you do a really good independent media show like this other one? Go support that one, right? But we've got to build the ecosystem and make sure that we're empowered to keep pumping out the truth.